once again, this time, my friends, for another meet and greet. We're Southern Fried and nationwide, so hang on to your seat. Look around, here's what I found. I guess you'll never know what you'll see on the Southern Fried Podcast Show. Yeehaw!
Every day in America, suicides among the American military number at least 22 per day. This is far too many, but this number is a baseline. It is probably far greater, sadly. In conjunction with the movie The Keeper, which highlights a veteran who is suffering from PTSD and is contemplating ending his life, but decides not to do so and gets better. We want to help people remember and have in front of them the information that they need to highlight this tragedy and to hopefully reach out and help someone who is struggling in the same way as some of those were on the name tapes that our character carried throughout the movie The Keeper. So for 22 days, the Southern Fried Podcast is going to keep a sad number. We're going to keep a running tally using the baseline number 22, starting on September 2nd. And each day that we're on the air, we'll give the updated numbers. We want to highlight this not to promote a number, but to make a difference. There may be someone you know you need to reach out to, listen to, get the information to them. There's not a one-size-fits-all, but we need to let our veterans know that we care, we want to help, and that there's resources for them. The Southern Fried Podcast is committed to do their part to bring this number down. 1 is too many. 22 is an atrocity. Well, good evening, Southern Fried Podcast and Cornbread Nation on a windy, rainy, stormy, at least in our area, Thursday night. We hope that you've had a good day. I did not make any plans to get on because we had a lot of problems here with wind and power, meaning no power, then had power, then had no power, then had power again. So everybody kind of was settled in for the night, and I thought, well, let's get on and see who's talking tonight or who's on and just talk about whatever. I don't have any major topics, although there's some news we can jump into and talk about. But the news of the hour has been the storms. Had a lot of wind. Of course, I know in the southern part of the state and across from the Gulf, the storm, the people settling down there, and I hope it's not been too bad. Rob said he had a power line to blow. Had to get the help out there to get it back on. So I just right after I talked to him, was getting close to home, and my wife said our power was out. Like I said, it's wind for us. We did have some rain, not a lot. It's mainly just wind. So trees going down, things like that. So if for some reason I go off, anything could happen. We could lose the Wi-Fi or anything, but we'll try to get in for a little bit and talk and see what's going on. Rob off tonight, but we've been busy. You know, there's not many days that even if you don't see us, most days you see us, or at least we have programming going up. And even when we don't see us, though, usually there's something going on behind the scenes. We're building the podcast in some way. It takes a lot of contact and a lot of scheduling and stuff for some of the things that we do, and research and stuff like that. So you have to have time for that. So we communicate pretty much daily, if not multiple times a day, about some of those things. And that was the case today. So as you know, and we put it in if you're not following us on Facebook, the Cornbread Nation, we have 2 sites there. The Cornbread Nation got about 65 followers in that. Join it. We post programming updates on everything, but mostly in there because it's kind of a folks that follow us and stuff. They'll generally get in there, and they're the Cornbread Nation. So we want to give them a shout out. So we have been trying to get an interview, and everybody's just schedule's busy, and we get that with the Stop the Monkey farm and breeding place or whatever in Bainbridge, Georgia. And we've been following their updates. We've joined their Facebook online community, and they've been updating some of the meetings and stuff, some of the rallies, prayers that they do weekly. And today they had, or tomorrow, maybe it is, but anyway, they have it was today actually. They had a meeting down there. And anyway, Rob reached out and he's talked to a couple of folks. The original person that we were going to talk with couldn't be with us, and we thought it might be today. I'm glad we didn't because of the storm. But tomorrow we're going to record that. We're going to get that up right away. Be no delay. We just be easier for us to record to trying to go live. So we're going to do that, and give these folks an opportunity to update us on kind of where this began, kind of what's happened along the way, and what's going on now, and how we can help, and how the community can help, even from afar. I mean, I'm several hours away from them. Rob is not that far. So get in down there and see how we can help. And they released news that there was a facility in Texas that decided not to build, was going to sell the land. They just felt like it was not a good thing for them to try to do, which was a victory. So these are, just horrible things. And then we hear in the news all this stuff, crazy, evil, horrible stuff about, animals being eaten and stuff, and just horrible. And I was talking to somebody today about ARA, Animal Rescue Alliance, and our association with them down in Donaldsonville, Georgia. And they turns out they're big, supporters. Hello, Daniel. It's good to see you, buddy. We're going to get you some information tomorrow, hopefully help you get in. Yeah, Sugar Britches. Okay. You've worn me down, I guess. But it's good to see you. Hardest working man in Chatsworth, Georgia. He said his wife is the female hardest working person or female in Chatsworth, Georgia. But it's good to have you in here. But we'll hopefully get that information up and be able to help them in some way so we can rally support to that. And now, like I said, I was talking to the person, and they said they were going to check out ARA. They give to rescues and stuff like that. So you just never know, just word of mouth. That's how you build things, how we build the podcast. That's how you build, people throughout, hey, Roberts gave us a like. You're supposed to be taking a break. I'm just bored. Everybody, grandkid went off to spend the night tonight with a friend down the street. Wife's in the bed. The dog's even settled in. There's no stirring in the house, and my wife is like, "Are you gonna get on?" I mean, it's like I feel guilty if I don't. Like, it's like, you're not recording. Hey, Candy, how you doing? It's good to have you in here. But my son will come in the morning. He works through the night. He'll come in and he'll say, "How'd the recording go?" I said, "Well, we didn't record last night," or something. He'll say, "What?" It's like shocked, I was telling someone today that hadn't heard of that. We were do a podcast, and they said, "What do you do? Like 2 or 3 shows a week?" And I said, "More like 23." I mean, they didn't know how to take that. They're like, "Are you kidding me?" I said, "No, we do it. We love it. So, it's a great hobby." He's a great encourager. I think he gave us a follow on YouTube, and we certainly need that. Praise God for it. Can't say enough how much we appreciate all of you in here, and that support us and follow us, and from whatever stream or whatever you come through. And but again, just no really topics. Although I do have a few things on. Goodness gracious, our brains are always firing off in different directions. But I was a few things that kind of popped up in the news, and we've had a couple of days since the debate, and there's all sorts of news flying around about that. And it's now a whistleblower has came forward, and we'll see where it goes. That's the news of the hour. The whistleblowers came forward that they gave her sample questions that, oh, by the way, were become exactly the questions they were going to ask. It was so obvious they were doing that, and I just wish, I'll be honest with you, I wish the election was tomorrow. I do. Let's do it. Let's just go. It's like this anticipation. I'll be glad when early voting starts. Helping someone today who's never voted, send them the online link. You can register online. They're going to vote. First time voter, nearly 40 years old, going to be a first time voter. Praise God. And get out there and vote, make these votes count. And that's Rob, that's a North Georgia voter right there. So you got to work the polls down there in the South. We got to have North and South Georgia come up loud and proud and voting. And I'm sorry, my phone is ringing, so I'll get with that in just a minute. But yeah, we need those voters to come in and be active. And if you're registered to vote, go vote. Don't let these rascals talk you out of voting. Get out there and vote. Be active that way and encourage others. If somebody says, "Oh, my vote don't count," well, you tell them, stop all that silliness, get down and vote. I'm telling you, if you can see these folks dragging in, and I mean literally dragging in sometimes to the precinct, it just makes some people feel ashamed. I guarantee you. But yeah, you can't use the excuse of work because you got early voting, and you can even do absentee, and there's all sorts of things. And speaking on this, we've posted about it in the Cornbread Nation. We're going to have an interview a week from today. Hey, Mr. McGill. Hello, buddy. But yeah, we've got an elections official that we know here in the county going to come on and talk about, elections specific to the county, but it's the same really across the state. So we're not gonna dive into controversy or talk about 2020 or nothing like that. They have a job, and we wouldn't ask them, put them in that position or get them in trouble or anything. It's just to come on and talk about the process of and what to expect and what to do and what not to do. And it's just a chance to ask questions. If you got questions, send them to us. But they're gracious enough to come on, and it's getting that time of year. Early voting will be starting, if I can speak, and and get the word out. And we'll let God be God, and man be man. Man's a liar, and God is always faithful and truthful. And all we can do is vote and pray, and encourage others to do the same. But I did see that, and I thought, I'm not surprised. I mean, it was so very obvious. Some people's talked about an earpiece or an earring that, who knows? I don't know. But I can tell you that those answers were certainly prepared answers. If they were, and I don't even know if she could talk that long without it being fed into her earpiece, to be honest with you. She's never talked that. It generally went down the same line. She couldn't even write that script. I'll be honest with you. That's my opinion, and I'll stand on it. Not to say that President Trump didn't have some hiccups along the way, because I think he did, and I would have. Kaylee says to everybody, "Hey," she was calling me. So Kaylee, I got this feeling that my granddaughter she's getting warmed up to it. She's really a talker, but she's kind of shy. So her foray into podcasting was through the dog. So the dog she's been featuring the dog, and every once in a while she'll say a wave or something. And I got a feeling I've created a problem here. She's going to get online, and there's no telling what we'll be talking about, But that might be fun. That might be some good stuff as we get the mind of a middle schooler and find out what they're hearing and what they're seeing. By the way, I was telling Rob earlier, we got a guy I don't know when it's going to be. He's a very good friend of mine. He's a fellow pastor in the area, and he's going to come on and share his story and this is not going to be a knock or, well, in some ways, I guess it would be. We know there's problems with the schools, and so to any teachers or anything like that, it's not intended to be a shellac or anything on the schools. Totally, but we know there's problems. And anyway, for him, he's going to tell his story. He's not telling you what to do, but he probably will be very strong in that, this is getting worse. And anyway, he had to pull his daughter out of school, and he put her in a different school. And we're going to let him share that story. I don't want to share it. But I talked to him today, and I just said I think it's a tremendous story. It's a story of a man of faith. It's a story of a dad who said enough, and he went down, he sat down and had conversations. Those questions didn't get answered the way he wanted, so he made changes. So that's all I'll say on that. But he's really excited about it, and I'm glad. I just said, well, I just feel like God would have me to ask you. And I think that this is I could speak on it, but I've not done what you did and are doing. I don't know if I've done what you did. Maybe that's not good English, but Robert he's not here to get on to me, so he can come in the chat and give me a hard time about my wordsmithing or whatever. But it's so much fun. Our show on dining etiquette and eating and everything. We had a lot of fun with that. And today I was giving someone a hard time. They asked me a question, talking with their mouth full of food. I'm like, stop! That's not proper dining etiquette. They gave me that look. Oh, I said, you just wait, finish, then we'll talk. So when you focus on something, then you see it everywhere, right? It's kind of like if you buy a car. It's like you never saw those cars before in the particular color that you have it, but then you go out and you're like, you think you got something a little unique, and then you're going down the road and you're going, I've just seen 5 cars today the same color as mine. I didn't think, I never noticed them before. So we kind of noticed. I don't know. Again, I'm gonna have fun because Rob's not in here and we're just talking about whatever. But Rob called me and he sounded a little shrilly. Is that a good word? I don't know. I'm gonna make it up. That's a good Southern fried word. By the way, when I was telling somebody today, he said, "What's the name of your podcast?" I said, "Southern Fried Podcast." He goes, "Man, I love that name." I said, "Well, it does grab your attention." But anyway, Rob calls me. That. And I'll let him tell about it, but I just want to tell this part of it. He had a power line blow and sparking everywhere. He got scared. he got scared. He sounded a little excited. When you're talking to somebody, hey, guess what happened? You can tell there's excitement in the air. That sounds like something from the Love Boat, right? Love is in the air or something. Did your mom ever watch you watch Love Boat? Oh, what was that, Sunday night? My mom watched that all the time. They had all the guests coming on, and let's see if from memory, my brain is sparking all over the place, but from memory, name the main characters of the Love Boat. There's a challenge for you. Let's see if somebody can come in the chat and give me the names of the major crew, not the guests. It was hundreds of them, but the main characters of the Love Boat. If you watched it, I can think of 2 or 3 of them right off the top of my head, maybe 4. So I think there was pretty much 5 main characters of the Love Boat. So see if y'all can name them. Don't Google it. Robert likes to Google. He said, "Well, that's why you got Google." I said, "Well, that's what you're supposed to think this stuff. Don't make it easy for yourself. Think of it, and if you get stuck, then use Google." We got to make the brain work. We got to see what's in there. It's all there. It might have dust on it. It's got some cobwebs. Got to use those brain cells. Get the brain working. And we were doing a little thing at work, a little meeting, and I was packing up, and they have a big TV monitor, and it was right behind me, and I was like, "Man, there's a lot of heat blowing off that." I was thinking, well, we did have it on made at work. Little fans in there blowing the heat out. Some of us need to get our brains working. It needs to heat up. It's like your phone, it gets hot when you use it. You're using a lot. Your brain, you got to heat it up. You got to get it going. But our brains, when we get older, is like the old tube radios. Got to smack it on the side a little bit and get going. As one, Candy Gopher. Yeah, I don't remember. He had a name, I'm sure, right? But everybody called him Gopher. That Gopher was Gopher the bar guy, the bartender. Or was it the other guy? Because I remember the name, but I'm trying to think of which character it was. There you go. There's one. We got like 4 more. 4 or 5. I think there's 5 main characters, so we got 4 more. So Gopher was one. I can think of 3 of them right now, I think. 2 for sure. There's one of them I cannot remember for nothing. But anyway, while we're sovereign on that. He's going to come on and talk about his story, and I love that because this is real. This is not something made up. It's not a little video on TikTok. This is real. This is a father's love, and I cannot wait for that. And he's a man of God. And I said, man, he said, well, I don't want to get anybody in trouble. I should, Captain Steuben. There you go, Captain Steuben. Yeah. He was the man in charge, large and in charge. He captained the boat, so he had to put up with all those crazies, all the crazy guests and everything. He got to, the special guests got to sit at the captain's table, right, for dinner. So yeah, we've got Gopher. Did Gopher have a real name? That's still sitting out there, Captain Steuben. There you go. I knew this crowd could do it. Who else? Who else do we have? And we got like three more. Well, yeah, three more. Who knows? There might have been even more than that. I don't know for sure. They could have been somebody that was kind of in and out, but the five main characters of the Love Boat. I always thought it was amazing. I know they had more people because you would see them, but it kind of looked like the five people were taking care of that whole boat. That's not possible. And that boat's small compared to what people cruise on today. Good grief. I seen an image the other day of the Titanic next to one of the modern cruise boats, cruise ships. Good grief. It dwarfed the Titanic, By the way, on this note, I've never taken a cruise. I had thought about it, but I've always been a little bit, I'm not sure, If I were going to do it, if I were going to take a cruise, I really believe, of course, the first part of it would be the negative. Like from here where I live, I could drive to Miami and get on the boat and go, I don't know, Bahamas or St. Thomas or whatever you do. But the one I really want to do is the Alaska cruise when it's not, brutal cold. They say that is amazing. But the fact is, you got to get from where I'm at, you'd have to get to Seattle. And I don't know if flying today all the way to Seattle, that wouldn't be fun. Good Lord. I don't really care to fly anyway. And you couldn't drive it. It's crazy. But have you done a cruise? You could throw that in the chat. Have you done a cruise? Thought about it? Do you have a good experience, bad experience? Do you get seasick? A good portion of the folks do, even though they take the pills, they put the little things on their wrist or whatever they do. There's still people get sick. And that would be the worst, to pay all that money and be seasick the whole time. That'd be horrible. I mean, you just would want to die, I mean, honestly, that's the worst. And when I was young, I would have never thought about that. I don't think I would ever get seasick. I loved it. I'd been on boats and out on water, been on rough waters through storms and everything. But as I've gotten older, we have something in Chattanooga called what is that thing called? Man, I'm not even thinking. I have enough coffee. But they have the dinner cruise you can go up and down the river on, and we did that as a group once with the organization I was with, and I made the mistake of looking at the shoreline while we were going down the river or up the river, whichever way we were going. I think it was up the river, and I got like a vertigo thing going on, and I had to look at the floor. It started bothering my stomach. I mean, it really messed with me. Of course, I know out on the ocean you're not going to have that landscape there to kind of do that, but then I started feeling the sway of the boat, and I told my wife, I said, I don't know if I could take a long cruise. I said, I really don't think I could do that. So we got Gopher, Captain Steuben. Come on now, we've slowed down here. We got the guy that was the medical guy. We got the hostess, and we've got the and I still don't know if Gopher's the one that handled all the games and stuff and luggage or whatever, or if that was the bartender. He was always, listening to everybody crying their beer or their scotch or whatever, Isn't it amazing that they also each week, one of the five would have time for love? It's like, how did they have time for their job? It's TV. I'm not trying to pick it apart. But I bet you remember that song, right? The Love Boat. The Love Boat. When you get it in your head, you cannot get it out. We need Cook to sing The Love Boat. I don't think he's in here tonight. We need Cook to sing The Love Boat. By the way, that rascal, I'm gonna get him. Robert put a challenge out the other night, And somewhere in here, I think he sent that to me on private chat. I don't remember, but the little rascal sent me. I was like, this is it right here. Well, I've got my Bluetooth on, but he sent me the Baby Shark, singing Baby Shark to me. Thanks, Rob. Thanks a lot, buddy. You know, I could handle Barney more than I could handle Baby Shark. You know, he's talking about the torture techniques that, you know, unfortunately people, they get in prison. Yeah, Julie, there you go. I don't remember. She had they always said her last name too, I think, but it is Julie. Julie was your hostess. And she was the one that was greeting everybody, made sure people were getting on that was supposed to be on the boat, got on there. She always had the list, you know, the census or whatever you want to call it, of the who's supposed to be the passengers and all that. She was, you know, upbeat, and, you know, a lot of things centered around her. I guess if you had to say it that way, she was the star. The others were support characters to her. So it was kind of designed for her to be really the star. Isaac was the bartender. Did you have to look that up, Tarman? Isaac was the bartender. So Gopher was the goofy go-getter kind of guy that got the whatever he did. I remember he did a little bit of everything. That's why they called him Gopher, I guess. I don't remember if they ever said a name on there, but yeah, that's Gopher. And we got one more. There's one more. Who was that guy? Yeah, not Julie. Julie was the star. Kind of, you know, had everything revolved around her. And, well, they'd go off and do their side stories, but she was the main, I guess, the main character. I mean, maybe the captain too. I don't know, but she really was the main character, I think, on that show. And that's the hard part. You can't have too big of a cast. One, money, but how do you know? It's hard to feed everybody lines, and actors are a precarious people. They don't like line stealers, so they want to have all the, you know, more lines. That turns into more money, and you're the bigger star. And some shows that was really hard. That's, you know what, while you're thinking of the last one, that's a good question. I mean, like some shows, who was really the star? In the early days of Three's Company, who was really the star? Because I'm not that good. Not that good at what, Mike? What are you talking about? Oh, I missed it. It went over my head. Phew. Dr. Bricker? I just thought we went by Doc. That was his name. I didn't remember that. He was the doctor. Of course, everybody's getting sick. You had to have a doctor. Oh, memory. Yeah. Yeah, me either, bud. Memory shot. Yeah, that's it. That's the 5. Good job. I knew we could get it. But I didn't remember Bricker. I just remember, I thought it was like Doc. Well, every doctor always got called that in shows, right? Doc. Hey, Doc. Gunsmoke, Doc Adams. But they call him Doc. That's just the way it goes. But who was the star of Three's Company? Was it Suzanne Summers? Was it John Ritter? Or was it, what's her other name? You know, I think you could make a case in different ways for who was the star. I think it's between those two. I don't think it's the other one, but she was also, you know, but then again, I mean, the support characters was pretty good on there too. But definitely, Suzanne Summers probably, you know, was, and many people would say she was the star, but John Ritter was huge, and I mean, he was the you know, the funny guy on there. Well, they all were, but I mean, John Ritter was a expert at physical comedy, which is a favorite of mine. You know, he fell all the time, right? He could do those trips and falls. I mean, physical comedy was great for him. You know, it was based on John. Well, yeah, the storyline was based on John. Of course, I know it's not. You know, he had to pretend to be something so that he could stay there, and it was based on him. But is that what drove Suzanne Summers away? Did she feel like she was the bigger star and they wouldn't reciprocate and pay? And, you know, she walked and they just replaced her. I don't know if it was ever as big. But she, and also I think she didn't like that she was playing that kind of character. You know, she wanted to be more, you know, she felt like it was disrespecting, I guess. I'm not an expert on Three's Company or nothing, but I have read stuff. And of course, she made a lot of money. She made probably a lot more money on Thigh Master than she ever did on Three's Company. And that's saying something. She was pretty smart, was really a really smart gal about how to make money, build business. She's very wealthy. She ended up making a lot of money. But I think in the end, she probably regretted leaving the show, you know. And the other girls, they were good actresses, but they could never see. She was Chrissy on there, right? Guys, they could never really replace her. It just didn't work. It's hard to replace somebody like that, you know. And in some cases, the actors held out for more money. These are all 70s shows, so you got to be older like us to remember that. But the 70s actors who were the stars, you know, they held out. I mean, the biggest one ever was, you know, who shot JR. Larry Hagman wanted more money, and he got it. But there was talk about possibly replacing him. That would have been a mistake. He was the star, the bad man. He was the draw. He was the star. Everybody had favorites on everybody. He was the star. Carroll O'Connor played the same thing, and there was talk about replacing him as well in All in the Family. He got his money too. There's probably some others, but you know, they wrote them that they were away, or like with his case, he got shot, and you know, all this negotiation going on by. I mean, you've already killed him, or at least you think you have. I mean, it'd be easy to have that, but then they would have killed the show. So, I imagine those negotiations are pretty tough. When John Boy left, I know his real name, but anyway, John Boy left the Waltons. He was offered money to come back, but he had signed a 5-year contract. He just never thought it would last 5 years, and I think he probably regretted leaving. Although in some ways maybe he didn't, because he wanted to do some other things, and he thought he played the character out. Of course, he came back for the movies and a couple other spots, but you know, that's the same thing Don Knotts did. He signed a 5-year contract with Andy Griffith. And, of course, by then the movies were taken off. And, you know, he left. And the show was never the same. I think it was I can't remember the actor's name, but he said the day that Don Knotts left Andy Griffith, he cried. You know, he was devastated. The show is dead. And although there's some funny episodes, you know, kind of funny, the show never, and usually they'll say black and white or color. And they say when it went color, it just went, it went down bad. And Andy got more serious. He started wearing those little sweaters. He didn't cut up as much. He was much more serious, you know, and it really did change. Of course, they had that goofy guy to come in and play Barney's spot for a year. That was one of the greatest disasters of a replacement ever. Nothing against that guy. I think he's probably a nice guy. It just was a bad fit. And how do you follow Don Knotts? How do you do that? I mean, the guy's a comedic genius. Another great actor in physical comedy. Carroll O'Connor was great in physical comedy. That's why these pop in my head, because I'm a fan of that. I'm not a fan of the stand-up or anything like that. Some people are just very funny by their facial expressions, the way they can do things. I just think that's cool when when you see things like that, and that goes back to some of the early days of movies and stuff, and you had people that were able to do that on the stage, whereas vaudeville or whatever. But think of some of the early entertainment, and a lot of it was slapstick and stuff like that. And that's where these people learned that from. Jackie Gleason. I mean, he's talked about that. What a genius. He could stand up and do a comedy routine, but he was another one where it really good to have characters around him. Of course, he created his own characters. He had his own characters on his show, and played those characters. I mean, it worked. So there's a lot of actors like that. But yeah, what shows? And I want to go back. I want to back up. I'm going to circle back. So the Love Boat, my mom forced me to watch. And I won't say that I hated that because Julie was kind of cute. I must be honest. I mean, I was a little boy. She's cute. So it was, some of it was like, okay, this is not fun, but usually I'd watch it. I say forced. But what shows did your mom make you watch? Well, say make you watch because we only had one TV. And so if she's going to watch TV, she was making you watch shows. And if my sisters are not in here tonight, but they would concur, and they could probably think of some that. Mike says the girls were. Well, let's put this up on the screen. I didn't know this. Girls were making $30,000 per episode. Ritter was making $150,000. They wouldn't increase their pay. Well, and there was that discrimination for women, and so I didn't know it was that much of a gap. That's still a lot of money. I mean, but wow, they had to feel totally disrespected that he was making that kind of money. I mean, when you're doing, I didn't do as many episodes sometimes back then. I think Dallas did about like 22 a year, sometimes maybe a little more. The early seasons they didn't, but you're making 20 something episodes. You do the math. That's a lot of money, even at 30,000, but still you got to feel really disrespected. Yeah, Mike, I think I could have been happy with 30,000 per episode, once a week. Of course, you get an off season because but for while you're in season, that's a lot of work. I mean, it's long days. Amazing how long it takes to make 30 minutes of television. Really not 30 minutes. That's probably 22 to 25 back then. The commercials took up the rest. Yeah, but yeah, that's interesting. Thanks for sharing that. Like I said, I didn't know that. But what shows did your mom watch or your dad? Maybe this is my mom. My dad was always into westerns and action and sports and news, and I like the news. That's why I like news now. That's why I do a news program. I mean, my dad kind of raised me like that. But for sure, I could run through a few here. I think of. Let's see, shows my mom watched that just drove me crazy. I usually played with my cars, but at night when you're in the house and it's on, it's like, oh, you get so tired of hearing it. Definitely, one of the ones I hated she watched was Falcon Crest. Oh my gosh, drove me crazy. She was really into the nighttime soaps, Of course, that's, how she'd watched Dallas, Falcon Crest, Knots Landing, and most people would know that lineup because they came on. Were they all on the same night? I don't know, two of them were. Was the third one on the same night for a while? So you had like a lineup there, Those are two of them. In the daytime reruns, she made me watch Hazel. I wasn't a fan of that show. But she would watch like, Andy Griffith's Show, Petticoat Junction, the Dick Van Dyke Show, which I like that. She'd watch that. Car 54, Where Are You? Adam 12. She was into some police shows and stuff like that. It was good, but I hated those, the Falcon Crest and stuff like that. One of the shows later she got into, and I know ladies don't throw tomatoes at the screen. I really wasn't a fan of the Golden Girls. Oh, just was not a fan. And she would watch all that. I mean, if it was on, she was watching it. All those reruns. It's like, you've seen this before. Well, I want to see it again. Oh my goodness. We're just as guilty, right? We watch stuff that we've seen a bunch and we'll watch it again and drive our wives crazy. I mean, a great old Western is still a great old Western. That's the way we looked at it. So, that's some of the shows that I just absolutely hated. I'm trying to think. There were others, but that definitely stands out. My mom was trying to, she was a little hip too. I mean, what was it? The Mod Squad? It was kind of a hip show for its time. She'd watch that. She was big on, she'd watch Emergency, and I was okay with that. That had enough action in it that I was good with that. What was that hospital show? Trapper John MD. She watched that. That was pretty cool. I got into that. It's funny that she wouldn't watch MASH, but she liked Trapper John MD. But that was kind of a funny show. It was pretty cool. I liked that one. So I could watch. I was always into kind of doctor shows anyway. as a kid, you kind of, I don't know, it's not real, but it seems real. So even in an action scene in an emergency, they're putting out fires everywhere. People's trapped. You get into that and you're like, are they going to get them out? They didn't kill them off very much. I always want to be heroes and get them out. So those were shows that we did watch together that we liked. Man, there's so many. I mean, Room 222. I wasn't a fan of that. I remember she liked that show. Yeah, let's see here. Mike says when we were young, Mom didn't watch much except Saturday night because she worked second later on. I let her watch whatever. Well, good for you, man. Good for you. Take care of Mom. That's right. Let her watch what she wants. Rob is a dictator. He's not here. We can give him a hard time. Rob didn't let his mom watch what she wanted to, I bet. I'm just kidding. That was another thing was when Dad was home, Dad had the TV, right? Dad worked. And my mom did some, but she was more of a housewife. They were the kids, which was great. It was great. I love it. Wouldn't trade nothing for it. I didn't like it when she worked. I realized it made things a little easier in the household money-wise. And my dad did work a lot. But honestly, I loved having my mom there. And we had so much fun. And I wish more of that could happen nowadays. You moms, you work hard. And, I know it's tough to be away from your kids. It's just better. It was better for me. Very close to my mom. My mom loved to hit the road. We had so much fun. Good, clean fun. Just good, clean fun. After all, we didn't sit there and watch TV all the time. That was something we did, but not all the time. I mean, it's more of an evening thing. I mean, in the mornings, I guess she'd watch the daytime soaps, which I never liked any of that stuff. But we would hit the road. We would go do things, Remember when life was carefree and you just got out and you just went and cruised? My mom was kind of like that. She was like, let's just go. Where are we going? I don't know. Gas was cheap. Oh, for the cheap gas. Put some gas in the car. You could go somewhere and feed everybody for $5, get them a little snack or something. Or they'd pack snacks and we'd just go. We'd go to the lake or we'd just go somewhere. We'd window shop or something. But yeah, Dad was control of the TV when he was home. Mike says Friday night and all day Saturday, Dad was watching. Friday night was Sanford and Son. We did watch Sanford and Son and all the family, without a doubt. And a lot of people would say Archie Bunker reminded them of their dad in ways. I mean, not every way, but a lot of ways, because they came from that same generation. And Carroll O'Connor understood that. And he said, I can play this guy. I know him. And he did. And I've talked to so many people my age and slightly younger and even older, and they would say, oh yeah, that's my dad made over. At least it wasn't Meathead, right? Good grief. That guy is such a sad excuse, isn't he? Reiner, his dad created all that. He's such a whiner. I'm sorry. If you like him, God bless you. Follow his Twitter account or his X account. He is such a whiner. Everything is, the end of the world. Conservatives get a little bit of a break here and there. Oh, it's just horrible, and he trashes everybody. He's such a whiner, and then he's constantly out on the beach and things that barely cover him, and it's not a pretty sight. I hate for that to show up in my X feed. I was like, stop it. I've blocked it. I hadn't seen it in a while, and I'm thankful. I think I finally got it to stop popping up. But they'll finagle a way to get the algorithm back so they can get him up there because they know we don't want to see it. But he's such a whiner. I mean, that's a guy that really was the Meathead. He never changed. He played it to the hilt. I mean, he didn't have to act. That's who he was. And now we've got the old man version. What a whiner. I mean, really. I mean, just if you don't believe me, go look at it. I can't stand it. I was talking to a guy today and he was talking about how, a lot of people are just, mad or they're sad or not happy. So I try to stay happy all the time. It's a goal. I said, well, that's a good goal. That's what I try to do. Be happy. Don't worry. Be happy. God, I can't start singing. Rob will give me a hard time. But yeah, we've got the interviews coming up. Be looking for those things. Tomorrow, We have the morning show. Shout out to our city. It's Rob's city, so I did Wednesday. So Rob, if you hear this, you must get your city for shout out. He's done good though. He's done good. We started with 2 egg. That was a good one. We went buck snort. Can't remember them all. Belcher. That was the last one. Belcher, Louisiana. Town of Belcher. We'd like to give a shout out to those people that live in those areas. And tomorrow night, front porch talking. I gotta give Rob a hard time too. You know, I made up. By the way, y'all tell me. Now, I think Rob was just trying to give me a hard time because he likes doing that. But I came up with this background for the front porch talking, and I liked it. He thrashed it. Let me move myself. Well, I'll move myself over here because I really want to show you. Not there. Let's see here. Move away. I'll get it. There we go. I like that scene. Rob, if you're listening, I like it. He said, where's the dirt road? Well, I said, what's running behind the cabin, dude? Come on. That's peaceful to me. To me, sitting out in that rocker, sun coming up or going down, either one, doesn't matter to me. Cup of coffee in your hand, a little, maybe your dog sitting there beside you, sweet tea, whatever you got. I like it. I like that. Let me grow old in a scene like that right there. I'll be a happy man. I like it. What do you think? You like it? Don't like it? Rob, probably just give me a hard time. If you don't like it, tough. Deal with it. We're using it. We still have the other one. I think we used this last week, this one. And I like it too. Me and Robin a guest. That's okay. That's fine too. I like that one. And then we had our other one somewhere up here, way up here in the top of somewhere in here I put it, way up there. And I still like that one. It's all good. And by the way, Rob, I don't see a dirt road on any of those. So, yeah. All right, let's go back here. Let's go to this one. That's a good one for us. Now I'll move myself back and we'll talk. So, yeah, give Rob a hard time. No, I love Rob. My buddy, my brother in Christ, brother in a lot of ways. We like to give each other a hard time. Nothing wrong with that. It makes for fun viewing. We get fired up a little bit. You know, here locally, you know, there was a show a few years ago. It was so funny. I used to love to watch it. And they were fun. I mean, they laughed. You know, I told Rob when we started this thing, I said, we got to have some laughter, man. We got to be laughing at something if it's just each other. I can't stand to tune into something that's like the Night of the Living Dead. I mean, they're on there and everyone watch shows like that, podcasts, or even not late night TV talk shows. And they're just sitting there and it's like they even go silent for a few minutes. Like they're just sitting there. It's like, well, we got 20 minutes left. It's like when we got 20, we go 20 minutes over because we're having so much fun. We don't know. I can't stand that. I mean, that's how we know a show's been good because we lose all track of time. We just blow it out of the box and we're like, oh, we got to go. I got to go to work. I can't stand that. If you're going to put a time, if you don't really have enough for that, then leave early. Just say we're going to leave early. It's very it's very frustrating to that, you know. And the options here in town, except for podcasts, the online not viewing, and I won't say who, but it's they're great people. They give you a lot of community stuff, but it's basically all liberal because that's all they talk about. They thrash the Republicans, and I'm like, that's not good TV. Have a liberal and have a conservative on there. Then you've got good programming. Then you can counterpoint. But it's like they just agree with each other. Every time, one and out again, they argue. Let's see if I can find that, and let's see here. I'll turn my sound down and see if we can find the online for that. because it is really bad. By the way, news in this area, the mayor of Rossville has resigned. Big news. Las Vegas, the mayor of Las Vegas has resigned. There has been controversy, and apparently the council meeting the other night, they brought up a lot of information on him about he misused funds. I don't know if he did or if he didn't, but they had the receipts, as they say, and they he resigned, or it's official tomorrow at 4:30. So that was breaking this afternoon. The mayor of Rossville has resigned. So there's been a lot of frustrations over there. What a booming town that was at one time, and they've got a lot of good things going on. They have redid. I'm going to give them credit. I really do. I mean, I grew up in this area. You know, I have a Rossville address, but I don't live in the city. I live in the county, but I do have a Rossville address. But I spent a lot of time in Rossville growing up. I bet old Tarman did. I bet he was a Rossville Bulldog kind of guy running around. I bet he spent some time over there. But yeah. Anybody local, you ever been to Horseshoe Lake? It was called Horseshoe Lake over there, kind of hidden in the woods. You had to walk back in the woods and see it. Some people didn't even know it was there. Remember it had all the sinkholes going on? That was a long time ago. It was a long, long time ago. So I'll just flash it on the screen. Boring. Sorry. Boring. That's your nighttime options. That's why we come on here to counter that. Great people. Not putting them down, but it's like, no. Let's talk about cats on top of poles. Oh, by the way, Robert sent the funniest thing today of cats climbing and everything. It's just proof positive that cats will figure it out. They'll climb back down. Yeah, you used to love it. I bet you did. There was a lot to do over that way. That was a lot of fun. A lot of jobs over there, and restaurants, and different things to do. Everybody used to go hang out to Big Shawnee, right? Shoney's back when they had the big boy there, the big boy out front, and that was a hangout spot. That was a hopping place at one time. I mean, it was a lot of fun to go down there. All the shops got fixed up at Christmas time, and you go window shop. It was fun. Now and they've done a lot on the Georgia side. The Tennessee side is sad. Sorry, Tennessee, get your act together, Chattanooga. Because you got to clean up that end. You got to work on that crime down there. You got to work on some of the dumpy buildings over there. I'm just be honest. I mean, you need to clean it up. You can't all just work down on the river, on the south side. That's the hot spot. That's where they'll spend all the money. Get down there. That's a gateway there. Get down there on that Tennessee side of Chattanooga side of Las Vegas and clean that up. I mean, you've done a little bit, but it's far too little. I'll call it out. Just go over there and look at it. Y'all, if anybody here that's drove through there recently, you know what I'm talking about. You may drive it every day. It's horrible. Clean that up. Rossville's trying it. They don't have near the money y'all got. I mean, it looks better. You can tell when you cross the state line. That's a sad thing. You're now in Tennessee. Really? This is what it looks like? If you're gonna have your big sign there, they need a different kind of sign. You're now entering the Twilight Zone. I'm sorry. It's just truth. They need to clean it up. Dumpy buildings. Horrible. Oh, and by the way, fix your roads. My gosh. I know roads are expensive. And Georgia has some here and there in an area that needs some work. But you literally, I hope you don't have dentures when you run through that side of town. I went with my son over there to look at a car at one of the dealerships. And he's got the air suspension, which hits like a brick. And, I mean, it beat me to death. I was so happy to cross the state line. I was like, this is horrible. I mean, we're not talking potholes. We're talking craters. I mean, you'll tear your car up. I mean, it's horrible. And it's not just one spot. It's like you can't move to avoid it. You know where you go, you're going to be in it. I will say this, whoever decided to pave down in Rossville, I guess that's a Fairview area, that road over there, and left part of it, I mean, with those huge iron pieces or steel pieces laying there covering up work, and he left part of it paved and part of it didn't. That was dumb. I know you probably got some stuff you got to get done, but I'd rather you just left the detour and close that off except local traffic. I went through there and I went, good grief. And your car's sitting sideways and the guy behind you can't see because of the dust flying up. And then you're hitting those things, it's like being on an amusement park ride to just go down the road. We were headed to church. I picked my wife up over that way, and I said, let's just go this way and get going over there. And I went, oh man, I didn't know they'd finish this road. Horrible. Now Atlanta's got a lot of bad roads. I mean, it's a lot of roads, a lot of people, too many people, and it's bad, especially when ain't that wonderful? Going down I-75. And everybody's doing, I don't know. I mean, you're not doing 60 because you'll get killed if you do 60 going through Atlanta. I mean, you're moving unless they're bumper to bumper shut down traffic. You're moving. And then up around Marietta area, I cannot tell you how many, for a long time, they had a crater right in the middle. I'm not lying. I knew it was there, but it was right before you come up on the main Marietta exit. And if you didn't know that there and you'd hit that, you're certainly going to knock your car out of line at the minimum. If you're, you certainly could blow a tire. They finally fixed it. It was like that forever. Or you could really tear up your whole front end. If it was a small car, you might just go in it. It was the worst thing. I'm like, how do you just get away with letting the road have that kind of a hole in it? I mean, you got to fix that. I mean, you got to pack something in there. I don't care how many cars are on the road. You can't leave something like that. Somebody could get killed. I mean, a pothole's one thing. A crater is something totally different. You can't allow that to go on. Come on. Good grief. Years ago, I don't know who does that. I guess the city worked, but in Atlanta, they have people in every department. And I read this is years ago. I read this article about these people and their whole job every day. It's disgusting. Was go around and amen, Tire Man, was to go pick up dead animals every day. It was a little small crew, and because of all the traffic all around the city, that was their job. And this is what they said. They said after you got used to it, you didn't even, you just got used to it, even the smell. But if you took a vacation, that was rough because you got unused to it. And you come back, it was rough for a couple of days. I know somebody's got to do it, but is that really the job you want? We need you to go out to I-20. We've got a deer or 3 deers, blown to smithereens all over the interstate. We need you to go out and get this up. And you're out there with a shovel and a rake or not a rake, but a broom, animal guts and everything else laying there. Can you imagine doing that every day? That's your job. Can you imagine going to, I'm sure they had some important title like environmental control or environmental engineer. That'd be better. You go for a loan, you go get a car. So what do you do for a living? Well, I work for the city of Atlanta. Oh, well, that's good. What's your job title? Environmental engineer. Engineer what? So you're like an engineer? Well, yeah, that's what I am. So what kind of work you do? What do y'all do as our environmental engineer? I scrape up dead animals off the road. I could just see it. I could just see the look you would get like, seriously? Every day that's what you do? You don't do something else? Like they don't rotate that? Oh, there's just a small crew of us and we go out all over the city every day. We scrape up dead animals off the road. I mean, somebody's got to do the sewers. I get it. That'd be a good job for Rob, wouldn't it? I got to pick at him again. He's not here. Rob, you get to go scrape dead animals up. Yeah. Environmental engineer. Rob Blevins. Scraping dead animals off the road. Well, that's good. That's good Thursday night talk, ain't it? Have you ever took a job that you really hated, but you needed a job and it was just a stopgap until you could get a better job and you absolutely hated it? I think for me, that would be it. Of course, they got city benefits and insurance and all that. So, I just think there's a certain kind of person that's geared for something like that. I just don't think that you, that's not for everybody. I mean, seriously. I mean, can you imagine getting up on a Monday morning? I mean, you got your morning coffee and they give you some work orders and they say, We've got, 3 dogs, 2 cats, a couple deer, and I don't know, some chickens. Okay, so spread out. Let's go get them. And before you even get those up, that's cool, man. We're glad to have you back on the Rumble side. We just can't bring you up on stage on the Rumble side. That was you gave us great feedback, Tar Man. We didn't know that the delay was so much on that side. That's fun though. I love Rumble. I love it. It's a steady platform and everything. I pull it up here sometimes, and sometimes I'll play the streams in the background just to see how they're doing, while we're on. But some of them are not as steady. I mean, sometimes. Tonight, I don't know if anything's steady. I mean, with the weather we've had and power going up and down. We were washing clothes. We had pork chops on the stove and other things, and the power goes out. I mean, it was already been out. It came on, so my wife's like, okay, I can start. And then all of a sudden, 15, 20 minutes later, bam, went down again. So we're like, oh, this is great. Clothes are in the washer. Pork chops you can only cook for so long. The grease stay hot for a little bit. Yeah, it was grease. I loved it. Fried pork chops is great. It's not good for you, but we splurged a little bit tonight. But yeah, what do? You're kind of stuck. But that'd be it's just bad. There's some things you kind of get stuck. You're right in the middle of it and there's no power. And the granddaughter took a nap and she wakes up and she said, I don't have any service, because the Wi-Fi went down. I said, well, nobody does. She goes like, what's going on? I said, the power's out. She's like, the power is out. What are we going to do? She didn't say exactly like that, but that's how I heard it. And I said, well, in about 10 minutes, we're going to sit in the dark. I was like, we got candles, but we don't have anything to light them with. It went out and we didn't replace it yet. Well, that's okay. Okay. I got you, Tar Man. That's cool. It was, the YouTube was very steady. I mean, you come through really good, really, really good. So you'll be back up with us. Appreciate you being in here. You brought a lot to the program. We need help. We're a crazy bunch. You can play referee. By the way, if you don't know what my hat is tonight, let's see if you can guess what my hat is. Let's see if you can guess what my hat is. I'll make you work for it. Some people, I love to wear this one to work. You get that look, right? What you got on your hat there, buddy? They think you're doing something wrong. It's just silly anyway, right? I'm a Southern man. That's what we are, the Southern Fried Podcast. We're proud of our Southern heritage. We love everybody, but we also are proud of our Southern heritage. But everybody looks at that. Is that a hat allowed at the plant? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's not part of the rules you can't wear. So it's a great one to throw people off. I love it. Tell me if you know what it is. My son loves it. I bought him one, and he works for the guy. I said, "Hey, I want one of those," and we ordered him one. So yeah, I hadn't worn it in a while. I said, I'm gonna wear my hat tonight. Get online. I said I've already been on here like an hour. Right, it's an hour. Just flies by. Appreciate y'all being in here. So yeah, the debate is still being debated. It'll be debated for a while. They all showed up at the 9/11, played nice. Do you see where Biden put on the MAGA hat? He don't care now, right? Really? I mean, they've already kicked him to the curb. And I know he's probably doing it, just cutting up and going. But hey, I used to love it. Presidents used to have a sense of humor. They could cut up and go on. Now everything's so serious. So maybe he'll kind of, quit being the angry old man and be kind of funny. I'm never going to like his politics or like anything he's done, but lighten up, dude. I mean, you've already been kicked out now. I mean, but he is still a president. I think. Is he? On the books he is. I'm gonna get in trouble. But yeah, on the books he is. But is he really president? I don't know. I mean, does he have the hotline there on the beach? Is that what the cell phone is? Yes, Vladimir. Can we talk about the war? I mean, really? How do they call him? He's sitting on the beach. I mean, if a foreign leader says we got problems, the Joint Chiefs, you know, I know they got communication. I guess somebody step up, but seriously, he's not in the office. How do you run the country? Well, because somebody else is running it, maybe. I think it might be. I think so, but yeah, let's get the election. Let's get it done, and we'll see what happens. God's in control. Somebody contacted me online. Those are creepy people that do that, you know. And I'm not talking about normal contacts. I'm talking about the creepy kind of talk coming into your private messages and stuff. You know, they start asking these weird questions. I'll have to give them weird answers back because you know where they're going. It's somebody trying to sell you something or something, you know. Are you ready for the coming storm? I said, well, I'm in a storm today. They said, well, I'm talking about the future. I get these all the time. I'm sure you do too. The future collapse of the economy, which could happen. Like I can stop it, you know. The future collapse of the economy. The banks closing up. Where's your money? Do you have money? Do you have gold? Do you have crypto? I always start messing with them. I'll say, because I know it ain't gonna last long, you know. I'm gonna block them or something. But I'll say, no, I ain't done none of that. You're in trouble, my friend, but I can help you out. I'll say, no, we got it. We're poor people. We know how to live off the land. We know how to do this or whatever, you know. Then they'll move on to something else like, well, aren't you afraid of being incarcerated, you know, by the government or something? You know, they just keep moving on to different stuff. And I'm like, so today it was, are you ready for the coming storm? It was like an insurance commercial or something. Is your assets protected? So, are you ready for the entire world economy to collapse? And then they tried to throw the spiritual part in there on the spiritual level, you know. And I said, well, here's the deal. I said, I'm not worried. I have concerns about as any American. I have concerns, but I'm not worried because I'm trusting in the unchanging hand, and I'm standing on a solid rock. So they come back and said, well, that's good, but we could help you diversify or something. No, I don't need diversification. Standing on the solid rock, clinging to the unchanging hand, right? That's my answer. I'm trusting in Jesus. Sometimes they'll ask you, are you trusting in your finances? Are you trusting in your bank account? Well, no, because it's no good. My bank account's bad. So no, I don't have trust in it. You need to put all your money in whatever, you know. Come on. Everybody's trying to sell you something. Everybody's got a gimmick. Every day or almost every day, I love Rumble, but I get a private message from Rumble from once we air a program. Here they come out of the woodwork. You have amazing content, but we could help you advance your reach. I'm like, no thanks. You know, just block it, delete it. Come on, leave me alone. Let me be. Don't you love all the junk mail you get too? I mean, it comes in. How many have you? Every other day. Do you want to sell your house? Well, I want to buy it. You can't hear the voice. I just made that, right? It's the card, right? The postcard. They take a picture of your house. I want to buy your house. Cash money. No questions asked. Sounds like the mafia or something, you know. It's like, leave me alone. Quit taking pictures of my house and quit sending me the card. Leave me alone. I'm staying here until I'm dead. I mean, it's just constant now. They want to, you know, it's just crazy. And hey, listen, I know we try to help small business, but you can't even have a community like thing on like Facebook or whatever it is, right? Because everybody's trying to sell, so everybody just comes in. It becomes a glorified ad constantly. And a little bit of that I'm okay with if there's something they can offer, but some people just wear it out because you know they don't have any side of, you know, they don't have any, you know, sense. They want to hog it and ruin it for everybody until they just change the rules and say you can't do that here. You let some people in. So there's always that business that'll come in and do it 25 times a day. I mean, come on, man. And, you know, it's not just you out there. You know, they let you advertise your thing, your yard sale. I'm not good with all of it. I don't mind it. But there's always somebody who ruins that for everybody. And I know you're trying to make $1, but come on, you just can't keep doing free. You got to pay for some. I mean, let us make a commercial for you. You can post it out there all you want off your website. So, yeah, it's constant. The junk mail, everything you do online, it's just constant. You just have to learn how to block a lot, right? I didn't check. And of course, I know that, you probably don't know, but the Buffalo Bills are killing the Miami Dolphins 31-10. That's probably what Cook is watching that. But Tua has suffered an injury. He has a concussion. This is like the 150th, right? I'm only exaggerating a little. Tua has had a big problem with this, so he is out the rest of the game. Bad start for the Dolphins. He threw 3 interceptions. One of them was taken to the house. I haven't watched the game. That's unusual for me. I'm usually watching, but I want to come online. And in the world of baseball, let's see here. Braves were off, I guess. I just was so aggravated about yesterday's game. I just didn't even check. The Mets didn't play. So, yeah, they need a day off. They'll have the weekend series. Oh, yeah, they're playing the Dodgers. I forgot about that. Dodgers man at work. He goes, yeah, we got the Braves. I'm like, great. Well, just go ahead and put us out of our misery now, right? So we don't have to worry about playoffs. We just play out the string, go to off season and try to get healthy and get some more help and fire the coach or something. I don't know. That's what it really says. Fire the coach, do something different. But, yeah. And we got weekend football. I'm looking forward to that. Dogs playing Kentucky. In Kentucky, I'm amazed at the Georgia fans that are worried about this game. Really? Well, every time we play in Lexington, they play us really close. Well, you guys need therapy, man. If you worry, first of all, quit doing yourself like that, worrying about a football game. But this is funny. But yeah, they're worried about that game. I'm not worried about that game. I get an offer about once a month for my house. It's up $70,000 more than it's worth right now. If they go another $700,000, I might sell. Who knows? They might try to buy you, man. We'll buy your house and you. Sell. We want it all. What is it going to take for you to sell your house? We'll buy the chickens. We'll buy everything you got. We'll move that gravestone. We'll move the grave. You have to. You can still set those up. There's a lot of rules. If you have a big farm or something, but there's a lot of rules to that. It's not the recommended thing to do because it has to forever be a grave and you got to take care of it. So it can turn into a lot of legalese. I think it's neat, but I saw earlier that they found in the Somerville Cemetery, there was the grassy knoll. It did look like a grassy knoll. They have found they did ground penetrating radar. They have found over 650 graves that are not marked. I mean, these go way back. I'm sure they had, I don't know, wooden gravestones or something, as markers, grave markers. I said wooden gravestone, makes sense. Grave marker, excuse me. And, but 650, they were going to get they thought they had 50. So they were going to get markers for each one. They're like, cause it's a historical society. But I really wish they could, but they don't know who they are. So it'd be like unknown number 1, unknown number 2. They're trying to update their records. They don't know who these people are. So they're lost with the passage of time. So they're going to get one sign and recognize them in that area. But 650, wow. That's pretty amazing. That's a big cemetery just right there. Just those spots, 650. But then you got everything else. I don't know if that's the... I don't know if I've been to that cemetery or not. I did a ceremony at the Trine Cemetery. I don't know where that Somerville one's at, so I'm not sure. You're right, Tar Man. I mean, houses ain't cheap. I saw a guy on X earlier. I loved it. I thought his name was his handle was Common Sense something. I can't remember the last part. And he said, we are to make it illegal for the illegals to buy a house so that the people that live here could get a house. That's I was like, that's some good common sense there, common sense. You can't buy a house if you're not legal. Solve that. You may disagree. You may say, "Oh, they should let them." No, I say, you're not a citizen. What rights do you have? If you, or at least you got to be here on a worker visa or something. You just can't come across. But yeah, it's a tough market, man. That's why they want to buy your houses, man. They'll come in and do some few $1,000s of upgrades and everything else and flip it. I mean, that's the. But I get it, and it's a capitalism. I'm all for capitalism. I love it, but don't people like that just kind of make you sick? I mean, they're just so money driven, and I get it. That's the idea, but they'll drive you crazy, And they probably have a scripture at the bottom of their card or something or whatever. And it's like, come on, man, come on. Or they do a business, they name it something biblical, and then they treat you like bad. It's like, really? That was going to be your name for your business, heavenly whatever, I mean, come on. If you're going to Bible name, if you're going to take a spiritual name, you better live up to the service, right? I don't know, but that's rough right there. Because I've known some people that did. They should have renamed their business. I think maybe the other way, straight out of business, right? I mean, because that's what it was like. Oh man, who are those people that used to come in the area and they would hit a lot of people and try to get business, and they do sloppy work and they'll take your money and they jump to the other state. What are those people? There's a name for it. I can't think of it. There's groups of them. They go around. I mean, they just live on the road. That's their life, and they could do good work if they wanted to, but they usually just slamming and scamming. They just take your money. They talk you into giving them a lot of the money up front or most of it, and you're lucky if they do anything. If they do, it's usually not. They'll just leave it undone, and then they leave the state or your area and change the name of the business, and they just keep doing it. They just keep moving, keep scamming. That's sad. But we live in a sinful world with sinful people, and we're all sinners. And some people just don't get help for their sin, and they have no morals, and so they're dirty, rotten scoundrel sinners. Oh, yeah, it's just horrible today. You just hate that. You see people online constantly. They'll say, and these are people that got money. I mean, they. Well, that's one word, but there's another one. I was thinking I probably should say that. I didn't really want to say it out loud, but that's one of them. But there's swindlers, no doubt. Yeah, I didn't want to besmirch, but there is another name, and I can't think of it. But the first one is applicable. But I didn't want to say that. But swindlers, yeah, scoundrels, thieves, low down, no good, rotten. We could think of a bunch of them. But yeah, just take advantage of poor people on fixed incomes, and then they're stuck, or like it's their car, and they can't. The car's still broke, and they can't afford to fix it, or their air, their heat or their air conditioners. I mean, come on. How do you live with yourself to do stuff like that? And God bless the businesses that go out there and they help people like that and don't charge them. They make a decent living and they do good work for their profession and just to help people out that are really have been done dirty like that. They'll offer free labor and stuff, or sometimes they'll even have an old part or something that's still in good shape, and they'll come out and fix your stuff. And they're not, and I know it's good advertising for them, but a lot of times they don't even tell people. They don't promote that. Somebody else might hear about it and say it, but they don't. Tar Man, you are right on point. I mean, right on point. Boy, oh boy, are you right on point. Oh, man. Oh, man. I don't know if it's true or not. They were saying today that Trump's promising not to tax overtime if he gets elected. I know it's the silly season. I'll say a lot of things. I never heard that one before. Will not pay taxes on your overtime, because a lot of people don't want to work over because they're like, well, the government takes all of it. Can you imagine the crime to be going on in Washington if they got that through? Executive order. Oh, they love for you to work overtime, get all that money. I did notice the spelling, Tar Man. Thanks for making sure and pointing that out. I did notice the spelling, and I get it. I get it. You're you're killing me, man. You're killing me. I love it. Oh boy. What was Ronald Reagan's famous line? Scariest. Uh, I'm paraphrasing a little bit. Scariest thing you ever hear is a knock at the door, and it's the government saying we're here to help or something. It's true. It's true. Oh man. I mean, and it's so sad. Our country is so has so changed from the original intent of what government was supposed to be. There's a great if you I understand. Yeah, I've heard it before, but there are people that use that. But yeah, it fits. But there, if you or if you know yourself, I firmly believe I've got here in my stack of stuff, but I have a good book on the Constitution. And if you'll go through that and just look at all the violations of the Constitution, I mean, anybody thinks that we're fully following the Constitution? No, we're not. They've broken many things about the Constitution over the years, and things would be much different if we were truly following the Constitution in the United States. We wouldn't have a lot of the problems we have right now, and it's both sides. It's both sides have done that. I mean, a lot of this money and stuff that they're sending overseas for wars and stuff that wouldn't be going on. Wouldn't be going on. The debt we're in, the imbalance of the representation, they absolutely do not follow that. Every 30,000 citizens supposed to have a representative. Imagine how much bigger Congress would be. Go look it up. Yeah, they're breaking it, but a lot of it's the money, the debt, and the way they do money. They don't follow the Constitution. Yeah, I'll put that up. I agree. It's amazing to me people that I know that are conservative that did not like Ronald Reagan. I know he had some problems that no president's perfect, but I really love Reagan, and of course all conservatives point back to him as he really brought us. I mean, we had the late '70s that were just horrible. The long gas lines, the rationing, the trouble, the hostages, and all that stuff. And Ronald Reagan came in, and it was a breath of fresh air. You felt good about being American again, And you got our patriotism back up and our pride in our country and all that. But yeah, he saw what it was, and I mean, he was a California guy. He knew. I mean, he was a guy that that navigated those slippery slopes and stuff, and he made friends on both sides of the aisle. What a great guy. But I know conservatives that said, "Oh, I couldn't stand that guy. Such a fake." I'm like, "Come on, man. Are you kidding me?" That's how I know. He's just an actor. Well, so man was smart. Read about his life. Man he was a great. He had a great wit about him. He wrote a lot. He was excellent. He could write his own speeches. He got help. All of them do, but he could write his own. That's how good he was. Can you imagine Kamala writing her own speech? I shouldn't say that. And again, that Trump probably wouldn't do it. It's good. I mean, he comes up with a lot that he wants in there. You can tell it's his stuff, but he needs help too. Most of them do, but Ronald Reagan could write his own. I mean, there have been some that could do that. But you got to have somebody there. Sometimes you got to come up. Sometimes you have to change the speech at the last minute. Conditions change, so they got people that go in there and do that. But they're supposed to incorporate the spirit of that person and kind of it's as if they really had those stuff, because it's like writing a song for a band. You just know that it fits your band, it fits your group, it fits your identity, and whoever writes it, the view and mind of that band. If you wrote it a different way, you're writing it for somebody else, and sometimes songwriters do that. And but I get it. I'm not mocking it. It's something that you need. You need people that can help you out with that. Maybe they'll all be replaced now with AI, Chat GPT, and all that stuff. Just write my speech for me. things are getting crazy, right? Because I think we're at a crazy point in history. We're making history every moment of every day, but we're just at a crazy point. There's so many things that are coming together at this particular time, and God's not caught by surprise, right? He knows it all. That's why I say I'm on the rock, man. Stand on the solid rock. Why should I worry? Yeah, we have concerns certainly, but I don't sit around. I don't sit around in fear. I'm not in the bunker. I'm not. You know, I'm not putting down having protective areas. I'm not. I'm just saying that I'm gonna live my life. I'm gonna do the best I can. I'm gonna be a good citizen. I'm gonna stay active as in my community. I'm gonna preach the gospel. We're gonna do the podcast. We're gonna have laughs. We're gonna be serious. We're gonna highlight stuff. We're gonna talk about news. We're gonna do all those things. But I'm not gonna sit in the bunker and just shake. I'm gonna live my life. I'm not gonna do that. My mentality is like I love that scene in Patton. He's wanting to advance, and I'll be off here in a minute too, man. I'm fixing to go. Thank you, Tar Man. We'll see you hopefully tomorrow in some of the programming. God bless, man. Love you. But Patton's like wondering why they've been held up, and he drives down there. There's artillery and stuff popping everywhere, and the general's like, "What are you doing?" He's on the other side in his Jeep, like, "Come on, let's go." That's what we need in our country. We need a leader that's ready to drive us forward like that. You're not sitting shaking. We can't go forward. It's too dangerous. There's too much trouble. There's this. There's that. We need that kind of leader that can be in the Jeep on the other side of the war. Deeper in the heat, as they say. The fire's hot, waving the rest of everybody on. Let's go. That's not Kamala. We know that. Can't do it. I love that scene. It's like, let's go. How dare you stop? Get these tanks moving. We got places we got to be. They hated him for it, but he was right. You got to have somebody that's willing to do that. He was ready to lead it in. He didn't lead from the back. He said, "Let's go." And I love that. And he drove that. Was it Third Army? He drove them. He did. Reminds me of Stonewall Jackson. And many others. Let's go. We need that in America right now. Let's go. That's been my phrase. No, I ain't the only one that's saying it, but I love it. And a lot of times when I respond to responses on X and different things, I'll say, "Let's go," and that's my message to the nation. Let's go. Let's move forward. Let's get up, get moving, get this country back in line. We need a leader that will do that. Cut the bull. We're going to proclaim our God. If I can get the words out, we're not going to let them beat us down and act like we can't. Be excited that we're pro-life and pro-Jesus and all that. No, let's go. We're not. You can be whatever you want to be in this country, but you're not putting us in a box and saying you need to be the side you're the problem. No, we're not. We're not the problem. We're patriots. We love our country. We love everybody. We love our God. We love our kids. We love family and community. And we're just not. We love our military. We're not going to sit down. We're not. We're moving forward. Let's go. That's what I say on this Thursday night. It's been fun being in here. Ready to get off early morning for the news program. I'll be rubbing my eyes in the morning. Robert B. "Well, you stayed up too late." I'm like, "No, man. I got some coffee." It's Friday, man. It's good. It's Friday. We got some good programming coming. We got to get a sports show in. We got 2 or 3 shows that we're really kind of behind on. We got to get them going. And I haven't premiered Southern Talk yet. That's coming. Power Trouble today. I was tempted to do it, but with all the problems, I said that I don't want it to be a disaster. So have a great night. Thanks for being in here. Hope we said something that was, by the way, Alabama state flag. This is from 1819 News. So if you didn't know that, nobody said it. So thanks for telling me all the characters of the Love Boat. Yeah, you got good memories. I love it. And we'll see you in the morning, early, 6 a.m. It does come early, so I'm gonna get wound down. It'll take me a while to drink coffee. I got to wind down now. I hear the dog barking. I gotta make sure nobody's out there. I think the dog's just missing the granddaughter. Go get the dogs settled down, batten down the hatches, get ready for an early morning. We'll do our shout out. We'll recognize, let's see, now to be 12 days of the 22 a day. So we'll be looking at that in the morning, sadly. Give an update on George Eshelman. He's been on the AT, the Appalachian Trail. I've enjoyed seeing his videos. I forwarded one of them. Give an update on him. We'll talk about front porch, I'm sure. We'll mention a little bit of sports. Weather. Robert's going to give us the lowdown on the storm that's been coming through there off the hurricane. Yeah, he's got a little story to tell, and we'll figure out a few other things. Have a great night. God bless. Thanks for all your support of the Southern Fried Podcast. We picked up a couple of followers today on Facebook, one on YouTube, a few on X, and we appreciate that. It just grows a little bit every day, and we thank you so much. Go join the Cornbread Nation on Facebook. We do some updates there. Just go in and join it. That's all it takes. Exciting interviews coming up. We got some things going on that we're constantly working on. Appreciate all of our businesses we've been able to work with, and they follow this. They have liked the show. They follow it, and we appreciate you. We appreciate everybody encouraging us. We received that today. Get some sleep. Have a safe night. Understand you have to get up several times. Maybe you can't sleep all night. Insomnia. Maybe you got to go to the bathroom several times. But try to get some rest and rest in the peace of Jesus. If you don't know him, you can know him. And if it's been a while since you've served him, it's time to rededicate. Let's go. That's what I'm saying. Not just, it's faith, it's family, it's country, freedom. Let's go. So, all right. Good night. God bless. And let Robert, get on to me and say, you did the show, you didn't do the music. So we'll do that. We'll be out. God bless.
Well, once again, it's time, my friends, for another meet and greet. We're Southern Fried and nationwide, so hang on to your seats. Look around, here's what I found. I guess you'll never know what you'll see on the Southern Fried Podcast Show. Yeehaw!
Hello, folks. Just got finished an interview with the Southern Fried Podcast about the upcoming movie called The Keeper. It's in movie theaters nationwide. It'll be streaming in November. It's about a veteran who attempted to hike the Appalachian Trail, successfully ended the trail while fighting his battle with PTSD. It's based on a true story. I hope y'all go see it. It has a wonderful message. It's a very powerful movie. But yeah, please go see it.
The Southern Fried Podcast now has its own store. Go to sfplive.com/store. These links are also found on Facebook and X and some of the other social streams. You will find shirts and hats and mugs and bags and all kinds of items with many different designs. These are just but a few of the more than 250 items that we have with different designs. We hope you'll come and shop, support the podcast. Every dollar that is paid will go towards keeping the podcast growing, and we thank you for your support. sfplive.com/store. Go shop today and get that favorite person in your life their Southern Fried Podcast item, and it'll help us advertise the podcast as you wear these things or take these things out into the public. We thank you for your support. If you have any questions, email us at southernfriedpodcast@yahoo.com. We'll be glad to answer. We're running some specials as well, 20, 25, and even 30% off in some cases. This will eliminate the mailing charges for sure. So go to sfplive.com/store for your Southern Fried Podcast items today. Remember, Christmas is just around the corner. Thank you. Hey, this is Dave with the Southern Fried Podcast. As part of our Main Street program, we're highlighting businesses in small-town America. This week, we're interviewing Angie from Angie's Decatur Diner. Tune in to hear her interview. The Southern Fried Podcast is pleased to announce our newest show called Southern Talk. We merged two shows called Manners and Mannerisms 101 into this new show that we felt would better fit our interest in talking all things Southern. So join us for Southern Talk, where we still cover all those manners and customs that we are known for in the South. But now we can expand the topics and reach of this show in a show called Southern Talk with Rob and Dave. Hey folks, where can you find the Southern Fried Podcast? Well, not at the beach. We wish we were there, but we are on all these different platforms you see on the left of your screen. Some of these we go live every day, or just about every day. Some of these we record and we upload the videos or forward it to those platforms. We're thankful for each and every one. We have followers across all of, or just about all, some are new, but just about all of these platforms we have followers we interact with on a daily or at least weekly basis. We thank you for all the support. We thank you for taking our programming and liking it and sharing it out and following it and subscribing to it. We see that. We appreciate it. We can't thank you enough. We're growing every day, and our lineup is growing. New shows are coming online. We're modifying shows, and we're finding ways to get our name out there in more and more ways. We'd like for you to be a part of that. Come and be on the show with us. Some of you already have, and some of you will. If you just like to listen, that's fine too. We need that. We thank you for your prayers. We thank you for your support. And if you have any suggestions for us, send them. All we can say is, well, that was funny. Now, we listen to you. We appreciate you. We thank you for all the support, the encouragement that we've been given. We've only been at this for just really a few months, and we're trying hard. And we thank you again. And we hope that something we do will lighten your day or change your opinion about something or reinforce an opinion about something you feel very strongly about. Life is tough. We don't want to make it heavier or harder on you. We hope that by watching these programs, we can be kind of a Southern therapy for you. The Southern Fried Podcast. The couch is available. It's waiting on you. See you soon.